Good evening. Welcome to Bookmark. My name is Nicole Frisch, and I'm the Senior Director of Community Engagement for First Tech Federal Credit Union. For the last few years, First Tech has been the presenting sponsor of the Bookmark cocktail reception. And this year, well, the cocktail reception looks a little bit different, but that's okay. I hope you're enjoying yourself at home in your sweatpants or tie-dyed t-shirt or maybe a caftan, whatever you're comfortable in. At Literary Arts, we know not to judge a book by its cover. So, I hope that you have a wonderful evening, give generously, and cheers to Literary Arts.
Hi, my name is Strom, and I'm a poet and writer and musician here in Portland. And I'm pleased to be able to present some work to you for Literary Arts 2020 Bookmark event. I'm going to read a poem from a forthcoming book called Instrument, and the book is actually part of a hybrid poetry and music project, which is a form that I work in. I work in a hybrid of image, text, and music, just my way of exploring how the voice often doesn't want to be contained within just one form. The poem I'm going to read doesn't have a title, but its first line will say a lot about what it is about and the themes it's exploring. It's exploring themes of displacement and movement and the question of home and place in the world, which are things that I think about a lot that relate to my own personal circumstance of having been born in another country and having been displaced due to circumstances that are large and far beyond my control, often political and historical. And I wanted to contemplate these themes, but also in a more elemental way, having to deal with the elements and nature, and maybe thinking more poetically about what it means to have a place in the world or a place in the universe. Is the moon refugee like me? Is the earth incomplete? I've always had a thing for gathering rocks from shores. Sometimes we use the word liquefy to describe the desire of a violence so conscriptive it returns the body to states of permeability. So too was I born of debris, home cold from the scattering, a dark landing. Eventually, liquid hardens when cooled. Fire dies when deprived oxygen. I don't trust human memory being what it is. Is the moon refugee, past liquid, broken twin, combustible debris, stolen orbit, aberrant satellite, pre-binary antecedent, inner sanctum, eyeless, sensory, mirror-missioned, or home itself? Precedent, unconsciousness, sedent, refusal. Is the moon refugee or refuge or refuse? Us, we refuse to refuse human memory. Being what it is, it slips. Is the moon refugee or refuge? Is the sun a holder of, the earth a holder back? I stood down wound, down heart, en route. Do you believe in the sound it takes to, it takes us to where I am standing en route down wound.
Thank you, Nicole, for your welcoming message. And Dow, you are my hero. Thank you so much for sharing your words with us tonight. To all of you, if you're just joining us, hello. This is the Bookmark Pre-Show. I'm Anis Mojgani, and I am pumped to be here with y'all. I love literary arts. I love the concept. I love the organization. I love the stories we get to share in these spaces. And I love that of all the things you could be doing online right now, you're choosing to spend some of that time with us tonight. So thank you. 15 minutes till our official program begins. And we have some great stuff for you to enjoy. More performances, special guest appearances, and of course an update on our work here at Literary Arts during these perilous times. But before that, a small balm for the aforementioned times we are currently in. The incredible Kesha Ajose Fisher is our next guest. She will be reading an excerpt from The Silence Between Us, one of the stories from her beautiful book, No God Like the Mother, winner of the 2020 Kinkisi Oregon Book Award for Fiction. Please stick around after her performance, for Kesha has a fun little surprise for us. Kesha, please take it away.
Hello, my name is Kesha Ajose Fisher. I am this year's recipient of the Kinkisi Award in fiction for No God Like the Mother. Thank you to the Oregon Book Awards for choosing me and changing my life. Today I'll be reading from The Silence Between Us. The Silence Between Us. The day Karim was born, I was already yawning inside my mother's arms. He would take his mother's milk and hear her coo into the folds of his ears. Fatima said his name, Karim, and still swears that he smiled from hearing it. I would not hear my own name until my mother died and my father cried out, Emilola, I'll name her after you. Karim was not my brother, but I called him that when the words came to me. He named me sister, though he already had two. Life became a daily unearthing of lessons derived from running and falling and laughing and hiding in the fields in my father's compound. It was there, beneath my orange tree on a quiet sunny afternoon, that I discovered my first loose tooth. I opened my mouth and Karim peered in. See, I said as I pushed the tooth to and fro until it came out. Karim glanced away when blood swelled and spilled through the hole in my mouth. Cradling the tooth in my palm, I said, Look at it. He covered his eyes. Mumu, whoa, I ordered. He lowered his hand. Together we marveled at the stone-like nugget surrounded in red. Yours will come out today or tomorrow, I promised, digging into the ground. Karim fingered each one of his teeth. None of them are soft. Don't worry, Karim. We were born on the same day. Your mom said we walked and talked at the same time. We are both 6. Yours will fall soon. I buried my tooth with dirt while Karim looked over my shoulder. He seemed sad that it happened to me first. I wanted him happy again, and I wanted to be the one to make him so. Before I lifted that rock, I pictured a different ending. After I dropped the rock against his mouth, I wanted only for him to stop screaming. I told Fatima, he just started crying when I turned around. Fatima gasped with a hand over her mouth and quickly picked up her son. Karim, move your hand, she pleaded. Let me see. When he lowered his hands, her eyes widened and I shouted, Karim, what did you do? He wept. I'm sorry. I kept my hands atop my head, shaking as if still in shock. Thank you so much for having me this evening. I hope to meet many of you in the future in person and more. I hope you enjoy the rest of your evening. Thank you. Goodbye.
For fiction. The finalists are Kesha Ajose Fisher, No God Like the Mother. Kimberly King Parsons for Black Light Stories. Peter Rock for The Night Swimmers. Gabriel Ariza for The White Death, An Illusion. Karen Thompson Walker for The Dreamers. And the winner is Kesha Ajose
the gutter. We trudged through a garden of mud and rocks before entering a building. At the top floor, Mother rattled the cast iron bars. A lanky, bareheaded girl scurried out.
Oh my God.
Good afternoon, Mom. Mother told her who we were and that we were there to see media. After a nod and a kneel, the girl unlatched the deadbolt, sorted through the keys at her waist to undo the padlock, and finally drew the heavy gate ajar. We sat on the bench in the corridor of their flat after the girl excused herself to fetch her medallion. I saw light pouring through the French doors that led to the veranda at the front of the corridor. Mother and brother rested their bags on the floor. Mine was in my lap. Madame Lydia glided toward us in a cabba that reached mid-calf. In its looseness, it hid the shape of her body. Her arms went up. She emitted a croaky greeting before hugging Mother. Brother prostrated. I knelt. The cold tile pressed into my knees. I quickly rose off the floor. She tapped Brother's shoulder. Stand up, please. The girl had been standing with her face down and hands clasped beside the chain of keys. When the madame's fingers danced in the air, the girl looked up, nodded, and disappeared behind a curtain into the kitchen. This way, please, urged the madame, again with that commanding hand. I reached for my bag. Leave it, she snapped. The girl and I flinched. Madame Lydia waved me forward. No one will bother it.
Congratulations, Kesha Fisher. Thank you so much for joining us for the 2020 Oregon Book.
Kesha, that was remarkable. Thank you so much for sharing your words with us and with the world. I love that story. I love that whole book, so thank you. To all of you just joining us, welcome. I'm Anis Mojgani, board member for literary arts and Oregon's Poet Laureate, and I'm so grateful that you're here with us, and I'm sure I'm not alone in that gratefulness. If our Bookmark Pre-Show has taught us anything, it's that tonight will be jam-packed with everything that makes literary art so special. Incredible art, a love for literature, insightful stories, our collective humanity on display, and great company to share it all with, regardless of the distance currently between all of us. Our official program is about to begin, which will be hosted by my fellow board member, the joyous and inspiring Chabre Vickers. I can't wait for her to take on the role of hosting Bookmark this year. But before she takes the virtual stage, I'd love to take one more moment of your time to share with you a poem of mine. This is for the fat girls. This is for the little brothers. This is for the schoolyard wimps and the childhood bullies who tormented them, for the former prom queens and for the milk crate ball players, for the nighttime cereal eaters and for the retired elderly Walmart store front door greeters. Shake the dust. This is for the benches and the people sitting upon them, for the bus drivers driving a million broken hymns, for the men and women who have to hold down 3 jobs simply to hold up their children, for the nighttime schoolers and for the midnight bike riders trying to fly. Shake the dust. This is for the 2-year-olds who cannot be understood because they speak half English and half God. Shake the dust. For the boys with the powerful sisters. Shake the dust. For the girls with the brothers who are going crazy. For the gym class wallflowers and the 12-year-olds afraid of taking public showers. For the kid who's always late to class because they forget the combination to their lockers. For the girl who loves somebody else. Shake the dust. This is for the hard men who want love but know that it won't come. For the ones who are forgotten. The ones the amendments do not stand up for the ones who were told, speak only when you are spoken to, and then are never spoken to. Speak every time you stand, so you do not forget yourself. Do not let one moment go by that doesn't remind you that your hearts beat thousands of times every single day, and that there are enough gallons of blood to make every one of you oceans. Do not settle for letting these waves settle, and for the dust to collect in your veins. This is for the celibate pedophile who keeps on struggling, for the poetry teachers, and for the people who go on vacations alone, for the sweat that drips off of Mick Jagger's singing lips, and for the shaking skirt on Tina Turner's shaking hips, for the heavens and for the hells through which Tina has lived. This is for the tired and for the dreamers, For those families that will never be like the Cleavers, with perfectly made dinners and sons like Wally and the Beaver. This is for the bigots, for the sexists, for the killers, for the big house jail sentence cats becoming redeemers, and for the springtime that always seems to know to show up after every one of our winters. This is for you. Make sure that by the time the fisherman returns, you are gone. Because just like the days, I burn at both ends, and every time I write, every time I open my eyes, I'm cutting out parts of myself, just to give them to you. So shake the dust, and take me with you when you do, for none of this has ever been for me. All that pushes and pulls, and pushes and pulls, it pushes for you. So grab this world by its clothespins and shake it out again and jump on top and take it for a spin. And when you hop off, shake it again. For this is yours. Make my words worth something. Make this more than just another poem that I write, more than just another poem like just another night that sits heavy above every one of us. Walk into it. Breathe it in. Let it crash through the halls of your arms like the millions of years of millions of poets coursing like blood, pumping and pushing, making you live, shaking the dust so when the world knocks at your front door, you clutch the knob tightly, but then you open on up and you run forward as far as you must, as fast as you can, into its widespread greeting arms, your hands outstretched before you, fingertips trembling though they may be. Thank you. And now it's my pleasure to pass the mic to Chabre. Please enjoy the rest of tonight's program, everyone, and thank you for supporting literary arts.
Hello. Hello and welcome. Welcome to the virtual Bookmark Gala. Thank you so much for tuning in to support literary arts tonight. I hope you are all safe and well. My name is Chabre Vickers, and I am the Community Development Officer for Wells Fargo, and I serve on the Board of Literary Arts, along with our pre-show host, Anis Mojgani. Now, this is where I would typically ask you to give Anis and all of our pre-show performers a round of applause. But instead, let's just use that chat window to the right of this video to show them some love. Now, before we get started, I would like to acknowledge that we are currently on unceded land. The Multnomah, Cathlamet, Clackamas, Tumwater, Watlala bands, the Tualatin, Kalapuya, and many other indigenous nations of the Columbia River occupied and operated nations on this land long before Western colonizers arrived. And many continue to do so today. Despite attempts of removal and erasure, these communities remain a strong and vital part of our future. Literary arts recognizes that this acknowledgement is only a small step in affirming the ongoing presence and contributions of our Native communities, and we commit to engaging those communities more fully as we fulfill our mission. Now, many of you might be tuning in from outside of Portland tonight, but every community in this country owes its existence and vitality to generations of people who wrote the stories that bring us here today. We start with truth and acknowledgement, and then we build a brighter future. Bookmark and literary arts is all about celebrating the power of literature to bring us together, no matter the venue. Writers like Dow and Kesha and Anis, and those you'll hear from later in tonight's program, do something really incredible. They document and reflect back to us this experience of being alive in the ordinary and extraordinary times. As readers, we get to absorb their words and see ourselves in their stories. We get to escape to new worlds when the life in front of us is too much. We get to fall in love with characters who don't look like us and share anything in common. And sometimes a writer comes along who has an eerie knack for seeing the future. One such writer, who's been called the Prophet of Dystopia, has a very special message to share with us now.
Hello, and welcome to Bookmark. My name is Margaret Atwood, and I'm here to help support literary arts in Portland, Oregon. which is a thing all writers and readers should do. So thank you for being here and enjoy the program.
Wow, thank you so much, Margaret. Thank you for joining us tonight to celebrate literary arts. So hang on, it looks like Margaret isn't our only special guest tonight. It looks like we have a special message from another novelist, Amor Towles. Take a look.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Bookmark. Shortly after I appeared on the literary arts stage last fall, members of the literary arts team emailed me and asked me if I'd be willing to provide an endorsement for the program. Now, I was a little taken aback, because being asked to provide an endorsement for the literary arts program is like being asked to endorse the Beatles or apple pie. What could they possibly need with my endorsement? Because any author in America would be crazy to give up the opportunity to speak on the literary arts stage, and any serious reader within 100 miles of Portland would be crazy not to subscribe. The literary arts program is a cultural program designed and curated by the serious-minded for the benefit of the true enthusiast. I hope you have a great night tonight and a great fall.
Wow, a big thank you to Amor for joining us tonight as well. We have many more surprises in store for you all, so hang out with us tonight. Now, like many of you, I have been a fan of this organization for a very long time. I attended all of the events, the Portland Book Festival, the Portland Arts and Lecture Series, and several events that I was actually able to bring my daughter Layla to. We're avid readers in our household, and I've been reading since the age of 3. And growing up, when my family experienced homelessness and food insecurity, reading was my refuge. To this day, it's my place of calm. That place I come back to in order to feel more whole. Layla absolutely burns through books, and it's the only thing I never say no to. She's now an incredible spoken word poet, and she's only 15. Now, what I love about literary arts is that it democratizes literature. It gives us all a chance to engage with and experience the magic of these stories and the brilliance of local and national writers. But it's not just about the act of reading or the act of writing. Literary arts gives us a space to do something together, to collectively be inspired and curious and insightful, to share our ideas and feelings about the world and work with each other. Literary arts is a dream and creation realized by this community and all of you tuning in tonight and all of those who have supported this work throughout the years. I'd like to take the time now to thank some of our sponsors of this year's virtual Bookmark Gala. Our presenting sponsors are Jordan Snitzer and the Harold and Arlene Snitzer Care Foundation, and The Standard. To our premier sponsors, A to Z Wineworks, First Tech Federal Credit Union, and Catherine O'Neill and Toby Graff. And our lead sponsors, the Angeli Law Group, Deidre Miner, and a very special acknowledgement goes to Susan Hammer and Lee Kelly. Susan passed away this year, but has been such an important part of the literary arts community. So we just want to thank you again, both Susan and Lee, for all of your support. And thanks to our supporting sponsors, Bora, Jenny Cooper and Rick Bauman, Rebecca and Mike DeCicero, Anne and Mark Edlin family, the Ann Mendel and Mark Henry, Morel Inc., Diane Ponte and Ward Green, Hallie and Rick Sadel, Carl Wilson and Evan Boone. We'd also like to thank our virtual hosts listed on the screen. Everything that we love about literary arts, the innovative programming, the exceptional content, the accessibility, all of it is made possible because of people like you. The readers, the writers, the sponsors, the donors, who share a love for literature and this community. Now let's take a moment to remember what it is that brings us here to this screen in this moment. Because these are not ordinary nor easy times. A pandemic, economic collapse, police brutality, persistent racism, devastating wildfires. I know that most days we're all just getting by. But there are writers who have the ability to bring us light with their words. They remind us that things like love and humor can guide us through the darkness. Ari Lore is one such writer. A 2020 graduate of Wilson High School, he competed at Verslandia in 2018 and 2019. And he also competed at Brave New Voices International Youth Poetry Slam as part of our literary arts slam team. Ari recently moved to Boston, where he is attending Boston University and majoring in English education. Now, without further ado, please enjoy this reading by the amazing poet Ari from his dorm room.
A poem from my hypothetical husband. Hi, nice to meet you. My name is Ari, better known as the poet, known as the guy who saw you on Tinder once, swiped right, wrote 3 half-assed similes about you, and told you I was a writer over text. When I say I'm a writer, I mean that I'm awkward. When I say that I'm awkward, I mean I will double text you a love poem. Apparently, I'm not that good at first dates. It turns out, hiding all your flirting and mixed metaphor because you're too scared to talk to people is a terrible way to continue a conversation or establish any sort of human connection. Who knew? Some might say I'm a prick, but I prefer the term rosebush. I'm cute, flowery, and pink, but at the same time, I'm not afraid to cut a bitch. I am the type of guy who calls themselves badass, but gets embarrassed when their cat sees them naked after a shower. Sometimes I fantasize about gravity, write some weird metaphor about Saturn or love, or beg for you to dip me in your wedding ring arms, like watch this, like listen to this rising pulse reach crescendo, like each heartbeat I give is a manifesto to breathing, like I cannot breathe without being in your orbit, like sometimes the difference between cardiac arrest and love is simply how poetic it is to write about. When I tell you that no one can write you like I do, I mean, when you comfort me in the middle of an anxiety attack. I thank you by exhaling, despite already being breathless at your touch, by holding hurricanes in my chest and calling you my storm chaser, by not knowing what else to do but make noise, because indecision is the loudest form of silence I know. In that moment, I will tell you I love you for the first time. That is not a poem. But what is this if not a poem? What is love if not the lonely language of ink? What is a poem if not the home of the heart's most violent vocabulary? Give me a pen or make me a god. I will love with the same penmanship regardless. When I tell you I love you, I mean that in some stanza somewhere we are still sharing our first kiss. That in the space of 3 lines, our hearts harmonize in 1,000 different dialects and swell to the silent song of the same supernova every second. When I write, the paper sings. With a single sonnet, I could serenade the sky to sleep till this night lasts forever. There is no I in this storm, only us. Once I saw a bottomless pit and jumped, which is to say that I am always falling for you. And when the sun rises and the ink dries, I will press my ear to the page and hear your name thaw in the warm morning air. I will text you and say I'm a writer, when really I am just braver over a keyboard than in person. I will be so chaotic and crazy and weird. But still, I will cherish every moment I spend searching for the right words. When I say I'm a writer, I mean that every day I greet the morning with ink, close my eyes and reach out, and again, you are right here. I am always too awkward to do or say anything except, hi, nice to meet you. You know my name already. Thank you.
Wow. Thank you so much, Ari. Thank you for sharing your words with us here tonight. Because many of us have engaged with literary arts through our personal connection, you might be wondering how this work has changed in the past 6 months with COVID-19. keeping us physically apart? Well, let's find out, shall we?
Literary Arts is a nonprofit literary center in Portland, Oregon. Our mission is to engage readers, support writers, and inspire the next generation with great literature. At the heart of that mission is the conviction that stories are powerful. They shape how we understand ourselves and each other and our communities. Literary Arts connects readers and writers of all ages and backgrounds to the power of stories and literature through events and classes, provides financial support to Oregon writers. In the face of the current crisis, at a time when we cannot gather in person, we have continued to foster connections and offer support. For over 30 years, Literary Arts has presented the Oregon Book Awards and Fellowships to support writers statewide. As part of our response to this crisis, we moved our classes and events online and launched an emergency fund for writers. Our youth programs serve over 4,000 students annually, from the classroom to the concert hall. With school buildings closed, our Writers in the Schools residencies and college essay mentoring project continue online and remain in collaboration with public schools. The annual Portland Book Festival brings together thousands of readers of all ages and over 100 authors each November. This year, we will come together virtually for a free 2-week intergenerational celebration of books, stories, and ideas. And Literary Arts is the proud presenter of Portland Arts and Lectures, one of the largest literary lecture series in the entire nation, with over 2,000 annual subscribers, now taking place online. You can hear our events every week on our radio show and podcast, The Archive Project, which brings writers and storytellers to thousands of listeners state and worldwide. Since the first Portland Arts and Lectures audience of 300 people in 1984, Literary Arts has grown to serve more than 20,000 people annually, plus a radio listenership of as many as 500,000. Reading and writing, literature and storytelling in all forms have always been vital sources of comfort and solace, of information and connection, and an important way we process and understand the world around us. Literary Arts is reaching readers and writers in new ways, and our community is responding because literature gives us all important ways to engage and connect, building a more informed, empowered, empathetic, and inclusive community. This is why we do our work. So please join us and find your story here.
Wow, I am so honored to be a part of this organization, committed to serving readers, writers, and the next generation, no matter what comes our way. You all share this commitment. We've seen it in the participation in our online programs and events. You all have made it abundantly clear that literature and connecting in these spaces have the power to nourish us in significant ways. To share more about this, please welcome my dear friend, Literary Arts Executive Director, Andrew Proctor.
Thank you so much, Chabre. And hello and welcome from the Proctor family attic. I am so honored that you've chosen to join us here tonight. As you've heard, Literary Arts has demonstrated a dogged determination to continue to serve this community in these extremely challenging times. And we've reimagined our programs for readers, writers, and youth. Some changes include launching the Booth Emergency Fund for Writers, moving our classes online, or hosting dozens of virtual free events so that readers and writers can continue to exchange ideas. Looking ahead, the Portland Book Festival will be transformed into a 2-week intergenerational festival of books, storytelling, and ideas, featuring the most important writers at work today. And best of all, it will be free for our community. And we're seeing record numbers of participation. Classes and readings are full. Lectures have thousands watching, and students are joining us from all across the region. And it's worth pausing and asking ourselves why this might be, given all the overlapping challenges and crises we face. Well, I think it's because literature is doing what it has always done. It is helping us to witness this moment, to clarify our role in this moment, and to foster a thoughtful exchange of ideas. It is helping people find themselves in this confusing and difficult time. They're telling their stories and the story of their community, and through these stories, we will be transformed. People have long walked the desert of the internet, and they're finding that 140 characters just isn't sufficient for this moment. They're discovering what literature can do for them. I believe in the power of literature just as you do. And because of this shared value and 35 years of trust we've built with you and with our audiences and with so many of our incredible partners like OPB or our public school educators, our programming is nourishing in this difficult time. And in everything that we do, we ask ourselves, how can we be more inclusive? How can we include more voices? How can we change our programs to make them more welcoming to more kinds of people? As Chabre so beautifully put it, we have also and will continue to honestly acknowledge the past so that we can move towards a brighter future. So why support us in this way tonight, right now? Well, Literary Arts is facing an unprecedented funding challenge with our ability to generate earned revenue severely diminished. So I invite you to look ahead and imagine the kind of future you want for our city and our state. Is it a future with a thriving literary arts, with strong programs, serving thousands of people from all walks of life, joined together by literature and storytelling? Do we want a community together, working across differences, one that can listen and discuss and write and read to build a more inclusive, stronger, more resilient, more thoughtful community? This is what I see, and this is the vision I want you to support. This is the choice you can make by supporting us tonight, by supporting literary arts. Thank you so much for being here. It is incredibly moving to be here with you. And now I think I'll hand it back to Chabre.
Wow. Thank you so much, Andrew. It really is amazing to see how many people are showing up and engaging with our online programming. I know I need literary arts and books and my book club community more than ever these days. These are my tools of escape. Understand and give myself a moment of calm comes while reading. I know that writers, too, need literary arts, now and always. Sometimes it is literary arts that gives writers the time, space, and push needed to bring their writing to life. That was the case for this year's winner of the Stafford Hall Oregon Book Award for Poetry. Please welcome the author of Spectra, Ashley Toliver.
There is no northern limit to the capacity for awe. Leaving the sea, a child throws the light back at the sky, like a chucked blade. Waves on the winter water break into careful pleats. There is a vigilance to it, the desire to include everything. Tulips pouring out of the lean earth, Atlantean fists, bulbs big as brains. You know, when I first started writing and reading poetry, it felt really natural. It felt, you know, like why would I be doing anything else? It's always felt like home, you know? In the late aughts, I was submitting like a madwoman, walking every day to the post office box on the end of the street. And at a certain point, you know, the rest of my life developed more. You know, I had a partner, I had a daughter. I kind of lost some of that drive. And I think one of the wonderful things about literary arts has been they always seem to find me and reach out and bring me back again into what I should be doing in the world. My first time at literary arts was as part of an event called Poetry Press Week. The event brought together 6 unknown emerging artists. editors from literary magazines and poetry presses and chapbook presses and gave them a chance to experience this work that they probably hadn't been exposed to, and gave the poets an opportunity to have their work out there and to connect with additional readers through these other publishers and magazines. It just so happened that the woman who had become my editor was in the audience at that time. And that's essentially, over the course of the next 3 to 4 years, how my book came into the world. Now that I'm an Oregon Book Awards winner, I hope I keep writing. You never know, You could stop writing tomorrow, and that could be it. So my hope is that seeing my book recognized and seeing it be received in a way that anyone finds benefit from it or interest in it, it just makes me want to keep going, which is hard to do. Having my work recognized by literary arts and having them provide opportunities for me to just be a poet in the world, or be a poet in public, maybe, made my career possible. I mean, it made my being a poet possible. It's amazing. It is dusk on earth, I see myself through you. In the last pew of the lit horizon, in the wide open field of the now, the gaze is the fabric that wraps the whole world. Across the blue tilt, Salt Lick, the only country we know, blinking with warmth and a belonging that grows as a tulip grows, plunged into darkness, then emergent, neon unraveling toward the next kind thing.
Wow, thank you so much, Ashley. There are many talented, incredible writers like Ashley toiling away and chasing that dream of sharing their work with the world. There are so many of us readers who can't wait to be transformed by the next book we can get our hands on. And all of us cannot wait to share this work with each other, to better understand this world and those around us. That's what literary arts gives us a chance to do. And tonight, we get to make the choice to keep this essential space in our city alive and well through whatever comes next. This moment is our special appeal, and I'm asking you to give with your hearts tonight. Now, you can donate by scrolling down this page and selecting your giving level by clicking the donate button above the window, or by using your cell phones to text the word bookmark to the number 44321. You'll receive a text back with a secure link to donate. And because this is such an important moment, I'd like to welcome our benefit auctioneer, Kelly Russell, to join me.
Thank you, Chabre. And thank you all for watching this year's virtual bookmark. As Chabre shared, this is your opportunity to give. Now, though our virtual event has completed, you can still support literary arts by donating now. To do so, simply text the word bookmark to the number 44321, and you'll receive a text back with a secure link to donate from your phone. Follow the prompts and select your donation amount to join the incredible community of donors who've already contributed to literary arts' mission to engage readers, support writers, and inspire the next generation with great literature. This is what brings us together. So once again, simply text the word bookmark to the number 44321 to donate and support the work of literary arts today. Back to you, Chabre.
Now to close us out, we have one final powerful creative moment from Jonathan Hill, my fellow literary arts board member. He is also the author and illustrator of Odessa and an Ignatz-nominated cartoonist. Jonathan's not only put together some words for us tonight, but he wanted to share his gratitude. So he put together his thoughts, but also an incredible example of what his work went into, and one big thank you to our entire community. Here's Jonathan and his beautiful piece.
Hi, I'm Jonathan Hill. I'm a graphic novelist, illustrator, and educator. My involvement with literary arts started in 2012 when I had my first residency with writers in the schools. I was a WITS writer for 4 years and taught 10 residencies across 3 PPS high schools. To this day, it's been one of the most memorable and formative teaching experiences for me. In 2016, when I was unable to continue working with WITS because of my other work, Literary Arts reached out and asked me to be part of the Youth Programs Advisory Council. I was honored. I couldn't commit to the time of a WITS residency anymore, but I wanted to continue to be part of the community I'd grown to love. Since that time, they have kept asking me, and I keep saying yes. I've been a judge at Verslandia, a moderator at the Portland Book Festival, and now I serve on the board of directors. It's been 8 years, and I keep saying yes, because I believe in literary arts and the work that they do. I've seen firsthand how much of an impact it has had to so many people. I have seen how much it can mean to a high schooler who has never really written or drawn before, to tell them that what they have to say matters and to help them publish and share that work. I have seen how they open their doors for so many different communities to have a place to share their voices and their stories. Choosing a creative career like writing or making comics is very daunting. It can be isolating, and you often, almost every day, question your life choices and if the work you're doing is even worth it. I cannot say how important it can be to be told, "You matter. Your work matters. Please tell that story." This is what literary arts does. It does it for young and emerging writers. It does it for established authors. It does it for people who love reading and use literature to connect to the world around them. I don't just speak for myself, but I speak for so many people out there when I say that my life has changed in so many ways, big and small, because of literary arts. At a time when stories matter now more than ever, literary arts is doing the work to get these voices out there. Thank you so much for joining us tonight, and thank you so much for your support.
Wow, thank you so much, Jonathan. Thank you for that incredible video. Now, before we go, this has been really exciting, so we want to take one more look at how the fundraising is going tonight. Kelly, can you tell me, how are we doing?
I can. I'm very excited. Friends, as this bookmark comes to a close, we want to take a moment to give a very special thank you to 2 close friends that we lost this year. I'm sorry. I'm going to let you do that in just a minute, but I do want to tell you, we've had some amazing gifts come in. GobQ LLC for $25, Carrie Birch for $42, Sarah Guest makes a gift of $100. Friends, our total is $761,319. There's the confetti. Woo! We're breaking bookmark records.
That's historic.
Thank you.
That is amazing.
Thank you. I'm going to turn back over to you.
Okay, thank you, Kelly. That we've broken a record tonight, you all. That means a lot. And it means a lot because so many people have shown up for literary arts. So many people have supported literary arts tonight. And as we bring this year's bookmark to a close, we want to just take a quick moment to give a very special thank you to 2 close friends who we've lost this year. Susan Hammer passed away on August 26th, and I am so honored I was able to serve on the Literary Arts Board alongside Susan, and she will be greatly missed. Ramiza Shimon Koya passed away on June 5th. Ramiza had worked at Literary Arts since 2012 and was most recently the director of youth programs. Ramiza brought such passion and dedication to all of her work, and Literary Arts is a better organization thanks to her contributions. I want to again thank Anise, Margaret, Amor, Andrew, Ashley, and all of our artists, Dow, Kesha, Ari, and Jonathan. Thank you for sharing your stories and your dreams with us tonight. You all make this community so rich and incredible. Thank you to our amazing production team and our production partners for making our virtual bookmark happen. We will be making this video available shortly after on the Literary Arts YouTube page. So look out for a link from us. That way you can share with your friends so they too can experience the power of literary arts. Now, this has been a fantastic evening. So please stay safe, my friends, and keep reading, keep writing. We will make it through this tumultuous time by sticking together and continuing to learn from each other. Thank you so much for your support tonight. I am truly honored, and the only thing I can say is have a great rest of your evening. Thank you.